Hey, Peppy. I know Mommy's on a trip, but we can still read a book. You want to read Skippy John Jones? Go get your book and we'll sit and we'll read it together, okay? Skippy John Jones. Open it up. Skippy John Jones. Every morning, Skippy John Jones woke up with the birds. And this did not please his mother at all. "Get yourself right down here, Mr. Kitten Bridges," ordered Mama Junebug Jones. "No self-respecting cat ever slept with a flock of birds," she scolded, "or ate worms, or flew, or did his laundry in Mrs. Doohiggy's bird bath." Okay, now turn the page. The lecture went on and on, as usual. "You've got to do some serious thinking before you leave this room, Mr. Fuzzy Pants," said his mother, "about just what it means to be a cat. Not a bird, not a mouse, or a grouse, not a moose, or a goose, not a rat or a bat. You need to think about what it means to be a Siamese cat. And stay out of your closet," she added, closing the bedroom door. Let's turn the page.
You really think?
But once he was alone,
It's a book.
Skippy John Jones began to bounce and bounce and bounce on his big boy bed. "Oh, I'm Skippy John Jones and I bounce on my bed, and once or 6 times I land on my head." On his way down to earth from a gigantic big bounce, Skippy John Jones shot past his bedroom mirror. "Holy guacamole!" exclaimed Skippy John Jones. Who was that? Time to turn the page. So up he went again, and again it appeared. Then, using his very best Spanish accent, he said, "My ears are too big for my head. My head is too big for my body. I am not a Siamese cat. I am a Chihuahua." Back on land, Skippy John Jones climbed into his toy box and rifled through some of his old junk. After he put on his mask and sword and climbed onto his mouse, Skippy John Jones began to sing in a muy soft voice. "My name is Skippito Frisquito. I fear not a single bandito. My manners are yellow. I'm sweet like the jello. I get the job done, yes indeedo." Thank you for the claps, Heidi. Back in the kitchen, Jujubee, Jezebel, and Jillyboo Jones were helping Mama Junebug Jones make lunch. "Can Skippy John come out of his room now?" asked Jujubee. "No," said Mama Junebug Jones. "Mr. Fluffernutter is still thinking." In fact, Skippy John wasn't thinking about being a Siamese cat at all. With a walk into his closet, we turn the page, his thoughts took him down a lonesome desert road, far, far away in old Mexico. Not long into his journey, a mysterioso band of Chihuahuas appeared out of the dust. "Ay, caramba, who goes there?" asked Skippy John Jones. "We go by the name of Los Chimichangos," growled Don Diego, the biggest of the small ones. "Who are you?" "I am El Skippito, the great sword fighter," said Skippy John Jones. Then the smallest of the small ones spoke up. "Why the Mosquito, dude?" asked Poquito Tito. "I go incognito," asked Skippito. "Do you like rice and beans?" asked Pinto Linto. "See, I love mice and beans," asked Skippito. "He might be the dog of our dreams," whispered Rosalita. "Perhaps," said Tia Mia, "if he knows the secret password." Turn the page. Leaping toward Don Diego, El Skippito half sneezed, half spoke the secret word into the Chihuahua's very large ear. "Ah, chupichu!" "Bless you," said Don Diego. "Gracias," said Skippito. "Then it is true," decreed Don Diego. "Yip, yippee, yippito! It's the end of Alfredo Bozito. Skippito is here. We have nothing to fear. Adios to the bad Bumbleito." Then all of the chimichangos went crazy loco. Turn the page. First they had a fiesta, a party. Then they took a siesta, a nap. But after waking up, the chimichangos got down to some serious business. Using his paw, Don Diego drew a picture in the sand of the great Bumbleito for Skippito to see. A hush drew over the chimichangos, so great one could hear a whisker drop. Alfredo Buzito, whispered the crowd. El blimpo bumbobito bandito. Si, said Poquito Tito. The bandito steals our frijoles. Not your beans, cried Skippito, outraged. Si, Poquito continued. Red beans, black beans, Boston baked and blue, cocoa, coffee, kidney beans, pinto, and jelly too. And now he comes for us, Poquito added. Por qué? Asked Skippito. Because we are full of beans too. Then Don Diego stood tall in his most somber voice, declared, Yo quiero frijoles. Huh? Asked Skippito. The dude just wants his beans back, said Poquito Tito, and you are the dog for the job. Me? Asked Skippito. Then all the chimichangos turned toward Skippito, the great sword fighter. Turn the page. But poor Skippito had no time for a plan, because in the blink of an eye, a gigantic shadow darkened the landscape, and the chimichangos scattered in all directions. Vamos, Skippito, or it is you the bandito will eato, they cried. Skippito stood his ground, but his legs shimmied and shook like jello, and teeth chattered like castanets. Then in a muy soft voice, he said, My name is Skippito Frisquito. I fear not a single bandito. But Alfredo Buzito flew straight for Skippito, until the bean-eating bandito hovered only inches from the great sword fighter's face. Holy frijoles! Cried Skippito as he thrust his sword into the air. And suddenly, turn the page. Pop! Went the bandito, landing on Skippito's sword, and quicker than one could say chihuahuas, cheese, and crackers, every kind of bean came spilling out of Alfredo Buzito, the bumblebito bandito. Turn the page. Then all the doggies burst into song. Yip, yippee, yippito. Our hero is El Skippito. He's the dog of our dreams who delivered the beans. And now we can make our burritos. Thank you, Heidi, for the claps. And turn the page. But back at home, there was such a ruckus coming from Skippy John's room that Mama Junebug Jones and the girls had to find out what was going on. They raced down the hall to the kitty boy's room. Bangito, crashito, papito, Skippito. Just in time to see Skippy John's closet exploding. Turn the page. Then out flew Candy, beanbag doggies, and the kitty boy with his birthday piñata on his head. Skippy John Jones, everybody cried. Hola, muchachitas, he said in a muy soft voice. Mama Junebug Jones lifted up Skippy John and covered his head with furry purry kisses. What am I going to do with you, Mr. Cocoa Pugs? She scolded. That night, when he was supposed to be going to sleep, Skippy John began to bounce and bounce on his big boy bed. Oh, I'm Skippy John Jones with a mind of my own, and I'll bounce on my bed for hours. I know I'm a cat, but forget about that. Say good night, Skippy John Jones, called his mama. Buenos noches, mis amigos, said Skippy John Jones. The end.